Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something pretty crucial today, something I think a lot of you are interested in. We're going to break down the 10 key skills for building wealth, especially as we look ahead to 2025 and beyond.
You got it. And we're not just theorizing here. We're going deep on insights from New Trader U. They have this great article on actionable skills. It's all about what you can actually do, to make a real difference in your financial life.
Exactly. No fluff, just the stuff that works. And that's what we're all about, right? So we're going to dissect each of these 10 skills, pull out the most important takeaways, and maybe even find some surprising connections. It's like having your own personal roadmap to building wealth.
Yeah, it's like connecting the dots in a way you might not have expected. And that's where things get really interesting, seeing how these skills work together.
Okay, let's jump right in. The first skill New Trader U highlighted was continuous learning, which, it sounds obvious, right? But in a world that's changing so fast, it's more important than ever.
It's almost like a superpower these days.
Totally. And the article brought up this crazy statistic. They said that people who read 7 or more books a year, they're 122% more likely to become millionaires.
Wow, 122%. That's huge. It really makes you think.
It does. It's not just about passively absorbing information, right?
It's about being proactive. The article actually mentions Bill Gates. He reads something like 50 books a year.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Makes you wonder how he manages it all. It's got to be more than just reading. It's about how he processes and applies all that information. That's what makes it so powerful.
Right, exactly. And it's not necessarily about going back to school for a degree or anything like that. The article stresses that continuous learning is about making it a daily habit. Reading industry publications, taking online courses, even listening to podcasts like this one, right?
Exactly.
Weaving it into your everyday routine.
It's making that commitment to constantly expand your knowledge base. And the article emphasizes that it's not just about specializing in one area, it's about staying broad as well.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it talks about building a strong foundation in your field, obviously, but also understanding things like economics, investing, business, even psychology and tech. History, too. It all plays a role. The idea is that all these different areas can actually inform each other, which helps you make better financial decisions.
I see. So it's like connecting the dots between different fields to get a more complete picture.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to the second skill, which is financial literacy.
Yes, financial literacy.
And, if you're good at budgeting, you might think, okay, I'm good, I've got this covered. But this article argues that financial literacy is so much broader than that.
It really is. It's about understanding the bigger picture of how money works. Things like how wealth is created, how to protect what you've earned, and making smart decisions about investments and taxes.
Right, and the article actually pointed out that even some really high earners, they can struggle financially because they lack that core understanding.
Yeah, they might be making a lot, but if they don't know how to manage it or make it grow, they can still end up in trouble.
Exactly. So the article delves into the importance of understanding different investment vehicles, stocks, bonds, real estate, even private equity.
And let's not forget tax optimization, right? Knowing how to minimize your tax burden legally is huge for your long-term wealth.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who want to boost their financial literacy, where do they even begin? The article offered a few good starting points.
Yeah, for sure. They suggested diving into some foundational books on personal finance, following reputable educators in that space, and maybe even considering working with a financial advisor.
Yeah, not just for specific investment advice, but for the education.
Right, to really grasp the underlying principles,
I like that. And the article was really clear that it's not just about learning these concepts in general.
It's about applying them to your specific situation.
Right, your goals, your risk tolerance, all of that.
Exactly.
Okay, seal number 3 might surprise some people. It's emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, or EQ.
Yeah, EQ. You might think this belongs more in like a self-help context, but the article made a really strong argument for its connection to financial success.
Absolutely. It plays a huge role. It's about understanding and managing your emotions, especially when it comes to money.
Being self-aware.
Yes, self-awareness is key. And even recognizing the emotions of others.
So how does that translate into making better financial decisions?
Well, the article mentioned research showing that people with higher EQ, they tend to make more rational decisions. They're less likely to fall into those emotional traps, like, panic selling when the market drops.
Oh yeah, or going on a shopping spree when you're feeling impulsive. Those emotional decisions can really hurt your finances.
Exactly. And the article highlights how EQ can help you stay calm during those times of market volatility. It can even make you a better negotiator.
Interesting.
And strong relationships are so important in the world of finance.
Oh, for sure.
EQ helps you build those connections.
So practically speaking, how can someone improve their EQ?
Well, the article stressed the importance of self-awareness, like we talked about. So, reflecting on your past financial decisions, understanding the emotions that might have influenced those choices, that's a good starting point.
Makes sense.
And getting feedback from people you trust, they can often see things that you might miss. Mindfulness practices, meditation, those kinds of things can help too.
Okay, those are some great actionable tips.
The key is becoming more aware of your emotional state and how it affects your decisions, especially financial ones.
Okay, skill number 4 is negotiation, which I think is something a lot of people can relate to. The article made a pretty bold statement saying that almost every financial interaction involves some form of negotiation.
And that mastering this skill can significantly increase your lifetime earning.
Wow, that's a big claim.
It is. And it makes sense when you think about it. Salary negotiations, buying a home, investing, it all involves negotiation to some degree.
So it's not just about being aggressive or trying to win at all costs, right?
Not at all. The article was really clear about that. Effective negotiation is about creating value for everyone involved, finding solutions that work for both sides. It's about understanding what you bring to the table, what the other party needs, and then finding that sweet spot.
Finding that win-win scenario.
Exactly. And the article emphasizes the importance of knowing when to walk away from a deal.
Oh yeah, recognizing when something isn't in your best interest.
Exactly. Knowing your limits.
So, what are some practical ways to become a better negotiator?
Preparation is key, as the article pointed out. Really understanding your own value, knowing what you want to achieve, and having a clear walkaway point before you even enter the negotiation.
Right, so you don't get swept up in the moment.
Exactly. The article even mentions some principles from the Harvard Negotiation Project.
Oh yeah, tell me more about those.
Well, one is separating the people from the problem, focusing on the issues themselves, not getting personal, and focusing on interests, not just positions. You know, digging deeper into the why behind what people are asking for. Brainstorming multiple options, not getting stuck in one way of thinking, and using objective criteria to evaluate those options.
Solid advice.
It is. And the article also suggested practicing negotiation in low-stakes situations. You know, haggling at a flea market, maybe negotiating a small freelance project.
Oh, I like that idea.
It helps you build those skills and that confidence. And one more thing, pay attention to nonverbal cues.
Oh, you mean like body language and tone of voice?
Exactly. Those can tell you a lot about what the other person is really thinking and feeling.
Okay, that's really helpful. Let's talk about skill number 5, which is time management. Again, this might seem like a basic life skill, but the article argues that how we use our time directly impacts our ability to build wealth.
And it's our most limited resource, right?
It is. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
That's a good point.
So the article talked about the idea of opportunity cost. Every hour you spend doing one thing means you're not spending that hour on something else.
Right, so it's about choosing how you spend your time wisely, prioritizing the things that will help you achieve your financial goals.
The article actually mentioned that people who wake up early tend to earn more and be more successful in their careers.
Interesting. I'm more of a night owl myself.
Me too. But maybe we should reconsider. The idea is that they're intentionally structuring their time to be more productive.
Makes sense.
So what are some practical strategies for better time management in this context?
Well, the article recommends things like time blocking, setting aside specific chunks of time for your most important tasks, and tracking your time, actually seeing where it goes.
Yeah, sometimes it's surprising how much time we waste without even realizing it.
Absolutely. And regularly review your activities, make sure they align with your goals. It's treating your time like the valuable asset that it is. Just like you'd manage your money carefully, you should manage your time carefully as well.
Right, it's about being intentional with how you use your time.
Exactly.
All right, skill number 6 is all about networking and building relationships.
Ah, yes, networking. We all know the saying, your network is your net worth.
Exactly. And the article really emphasizes that, building wealth rarely happens in isolation. It's about the people you surround yourself with.
And it's not just about having a ton of connections, right? It's about quality over quantity.
Right. The article is very clear about that.
It's about cultivating genuine relationships with people who share your values, people whose skills and perspectives complement yours.
Those are the connections that can lead to really valuable collaborations, unique investment opportunities, things you might not find on your own.
And don't forget about referrals.
Oh yeah, referrals are huge. Word of mouth can make all the difference.
It can. And networking has definitely evolved in today's world with more remote work and online interactions. The article highlighted the importance of blending those in-person interactions with thoughtful digital engagement.
Oh, interesting. So using platforms like LinkedIn, being active in online communities, that kind of thing.
Exactly, expanding your reach that way. But the key takeaway for me was approaching networking as a long-term investment.
Oh, I like that.
It's about building those authentic relationships, not just trying to get something out of people. Always looking for ways to contribute to your network, to provide value to others.
Right, because that's how you build trust and reciprocity.
Exactly. When you focus on giving, you often find that it comes back to you in unexpected ways.
All right, let's move on to skill number 7, which is AI and technology proficiency. This one might seem a little intimidating to some, but the article argues that in today's economy, understanding AI and tech is becoming essential for building wealth.
It's true, things are changing so rapidly, and AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in almost every industry.
So what does this mean for the average person? Do we all need to become programmers or data scientists?
Not at all. The article made a really important point that you don't need to be a tech expert. It's about AI literacy.
AI literacy? What exactly does that mean?
It means having a basic understanding of how these technologies work and how they can be used to your advantage.
I see.
The article specifically mentioned prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering. I'm not familiar with that term.
It's becoming a highly valuable skill. It's essentially learning how to communicate effectively with AI systems.
Oh, interesting.
To get them to do what you want them to do. Think about things like market analysis, content creation. AI can be a huge help with these things if you know how to use it properly.
Makes sense. And the article even mentioned that people with AI skills are already commanding higher salaries.
Absolutely. And beyond the immediate financial benefits, being tech savvy allows you to spot those emerging trends, the opportunities that others might miss.
Okay, so how can someone start developing these skills?
The article suggests just starting to experiment with some of the AI tools that are already readily available.
Oh yeah, there are a ton of free AI tools out there these days.
There are. And just stay informed about how AI is impacting your industry. Read articles, attend webinars, that kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds manageable.
It is.
All right, skill number 8 is all about cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset.
Ah, yes, the entrepreneurial mindset.
And even if you don't have aspirations to start your own business, the article made a really compelling case for how this way of thinking can benefit anyone.
It's a valuable skill set to have in any field, really.
So, how do they define this mindset?
Well, the article describes it as being able to spot opportunities. Having the willingness to take calculated risks, being resourceful in the face of challenges, and having a bias towards action.
Well, I like that, a bias towards action.
Right. It's about being proactive, not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen.
So how does this help someone who's not necessarily an entrepreneur?
It helps you see problems as opportunities. It's about constantly asking yourself how things can be done better, what needs aren't being met, what value can be created.
So it's a very solution-oriented way of thinking.
Exactly. And that can help you identify those gaps in the market, those unmet needs. Those are the things that can often lead to financial success.
Okay, so how can someone develop this entrepreneurial mindset?
The article recommends practicing opportunity identification, getting comfortable with assessing risk objectively.
Not letting fear hold you back.
Exactly. And becoming comfortable with experimenting, trying things out, seeing what works.
So it's okay to fail sometimes.
It is. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
The article also suggests reading about other successful entrepreneurs and maybe getting involved in startup communities or something similar.
That's great advice. Okay, skill number 9 is data analysis and critical thinking. And with the amount of information out there these days, this seems more important than ever.
It really is. The article stressed how vital it is to be able to analyze data, identify patterns, and draw sound conclusions.
Because not everything we read or hear is accurate.
Exactly. You need to be able to think critically about the information you're consuming.
So how do those skills, data analysis and critical thinking, how do they help us build wealth?
Well, they help you make informed decisions, evidence-based decisions.
Not just going with your gut or following the crowd.
Exactly. Which is especially important for investments and other financial decisions.
So, practically speaking, how can someone improve their data analysis and critical thinking skills?
The article suggests getting familiar with some basic statistics.
Oh, statistics.
I know, it sounds scary, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. Even just a basic understanding can be incredibly helpful. And practice analyzing financial data. Maybe start with tracking your own spending and investments.
That's a good starting point.
It is. And the article also talks about learning about cognitive biases, those mental shortcuts that can lead to bad decisions.
Oh yeah, those are dangerous.
They are. And it even mentions tools like spreadsheets.
Ah, the good old spreadsheet.
They can really help you organize and make sense of data.
Okay, that's all great advice. Let's move on to our final skill, number 10, which the article describes as perhaps the most underrated, and that's consistency and discipline. It might not sound very glamorous, but the article really hammers home the importance of these qualities for building wealth over the long term.
It's the foundation.
Exactly. And it ties back to that idea of compounding that we talked about earlier.
Right. That applies not just to investments, but to skill development, to habits. Consistent effort over time leads to significant results.
The article drew a contrast between, investing consistently, even if it's small amounts, versus trying to time the market, trying to predict those ups and downs.
And it emphasizes that consistency in things like learning and networking, those are going to have a much bigger impact in the long run than just sporadic bursts of effort.
It's like the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. So, any tips for building more consistency and discipline?
The article suggested using automation, setting up automatic transfers for savings and investments, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, taking the emotion out of it.
It is. And setting up systems, clear processes that help you stay on track.
And having some accountability can help too, right?
Absolutely. Sharing your goals with someone, having someone check in on your progress. And the article touches on this idea of delayed gratification, being able to prioritize those long-term rewards over those short-term pleasures. It's a hallmark of successful people.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into these 10 skills, it's pretty clear that building wealth in 2025 and beyond is less about getting lucky and more about putting in the work developing these skills.
It's about taking control of your financial future, building it intentionally.
And what's so encouraging is that these skills, they're all learnable. Anyone can develop them with the right mindset and effort.
The article encourages you to take stock of where you are now. What are your strengths? What are the areas where you need to improve?
Yeah, a little self-assessment.
Exactly. And then pick one or two of these skills to really focus on and create a plan. Break it down into actionable steps.
And as we talked about, improving in one area can often have a ripple effect on the other.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
So to leave you with something to think about, considering these 10 essential skills, which one stands out to you as having the most potential to really impact your personal financial journey this year?
And what's one small, consistent action that you can commit to taking today to start cultivating that skill? I think that's a great place to start.
Absolutely. It's about taking action. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and set the bell icon to all for notifications. Feel free to leave a respectful comment. Vulgar or inappropriate comments will be blocked. See you in the next video.